Okay, it's 5 p.m. on
He's probably
pulling up and, you know.
January 11th.
January 11th. Call this meeting of the DPW Building Committee to order. First item on the agenda is to approve meeting minutes from December 11th, 2023. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion, Dan Salvucci.
Dan and Rick. Motion is to accept the minutes as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It appears to be unanimous. Okay, review and discuss Page Building Construction Company contract. Mary Beth, you're on the hot seat.
I'm on the hot seat. Okay, so we were finally able to get all the documents that we were requesting. And so I did send the information out to Paige, sent it overnight and emailed it to them. I believe that was last week. And so they have all of that. And I checked the bond, the performance bond with the bond validator. The bond was good. So they met all the requirements. So it is a fully executed contract at this point.
Great.
So is the clock ticking now?
Well, now we have to, next step is going to be to issue an order to start. That's
Okay.
when the clock starts ticking.
Notice to proceed.
So it's got to be a
Notice to
formal
proceed.
notice? Okay.
Has to be a formal notice to proceed. Any thoughts from our,
Yeah, so we had kind of an informal kickoff meeting with them on the 20th. Talked about where we're at with the funding for the project and getting that signed off by who's that with the
Bond counsel giving us the,
so
are we talking about Maya with the,
I think we're discussing special legislation.
Special
that we're waiting
legislation.
for,
Oh, okay.
the House and the
yeah, have you heard anything? I called Brady's office last
Senate.
2 weeks ago.
Yes, I've made several calls. I'm calling each week. I actually spoke to Brady's office last week. They said, Mary Beth, it's going into open session tomorrow, which is Wednesday, or on Thursday. That will go back to the House. I said, okay, wonderful. So I talked to Allison Sullivan. I said, Allison, it was supposed to go to the House. Open session, at the Senate, open session Wednesday or Thursday of last week. She says, nope, it didn't. She said, but it should go this Thursday, today. I said, I need an update before the meeting. So I emailed her this afternoon, any update? And she said, no, they didn't hold a formal session and it wasn't done, but it should be on for the next meeting, but they don't know yet the date of the next meeting.
His campaign is all over Facebook. Do you have any idea how close I came to posting yesterday?
Supposedly they're working behind the scenes too. However, Allison did say this, and she said, Mary Beth, these usually go through much faster, of course. But she said normally the only reason it wouldn't go through is if the town didn't want it to go through. We know that once this is voted by the town, we just give it a stamp. So we don't anticipate any problems.
The problem is it's not Brady's priority. That's the problem.
Al supposedly is, pushing this and trying, but it's moving slow.
Maybe I'll show up at his next campaign session and ask him what the progress is.
So Alan said,
Because he's meeting weekly with people.
Allison said that if the House did get it, if it was put through today, then Monday, then maybe they could vote on it. There's still a few more steps before it goes to the governor's desk. I said, give me a ballpark. Again, I need an update. And she said, well, if it passed this week, 2 weeks. But it wasn't on today. So that's when my concern comes in with a notice to proceed. Certainly, we have some money, but to go beyond the cash that we have on hand right now, without that green light letter, would be a problem for me. It's not.
Well, the problem is we really do not yet have funding for this project.
We don't.
We have partial funding.
We have partial funding, 17.8 past town meeting, as you know, but we don't have that green light letter from bond council.
Right, but the 17.8 was passed subject to bond, subject to borrowing, and we don't have
Right. We're waiting
that
for
borrowing authority right now. It's being held hostage by the geniuses up at Beacon Hill. Okay, I say we check his schedule and find out when Brady's next holding one of those rallies, and we all show up and say, hey, what's going on with Whitman? You know I'd do that.
I know you would. I mean, I'm calling weekly. Where is it? What's the status?
Yeah, but you're getting the same answer every week. Is that
They have the
definition
hearing.
of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome?
No, they have made some progress on it. It's just not fast enough. So,
Has anybody gone in?
I'm telling you, when I needed it,
somebody from Allison's office.
when I needed the
walked
Senate to act, I walked into Bob Creedon's office at 9 a.m. At 9:15, we were in the clerk's office filing the bill.
Do you want to take a ride there tomorrow? I'll go with you.
Creedon's gone.
No. No.
Brady's useless. Don't put that in the minutes.
Unfortunately, we're on recording. It was your idea, by the way.
Oh, well. I didn't plan to ask him for anything.
Cat's out of bed.
Sure the batteries okay in that thing? Really, I mean, we're at a standstill. Legally.
I mean,
We can't move forward without.
but can't they do some administrative and some that
What we
up to the amount we have?
talked about was like a kind of a notice to proceed with language in there that basically lets them get started with like a soft start on the administrative stuff with submittals and shop drawings and try to get some of the long lead items into at least reviewed and ready for release, and with a tentative construction start date of March 1st. And then at that point, the construction clock, 395 days would start on March 1st. And then obviously there's some language in there that if that special legislation doesn't get approved for whatever reason or has to get delayed further, which I don't think anyone's anticipating that to be the case. But if that was the case, then the liability for the town would be the cost of the administrative work.
But that's already built into the fee for the architect, isn't it?
Well, yeah, there would be some cost for the architect and for us and for the GC.
But that's all part of the fee that we've already agreed to pay him.
The contractor would have,
We're talking
contractor would have costs.
Oh,
If for some reason the project doesn't move
The
forward.
project doesn't move forward, and he spends 2 months doing submittals, and
Yeah, we get it.
he'll be looking for
I
something
understand.
small,
Yeah.
Right.
very small.
Then I think we need to roll the dice and move forward.
As long as there's something in there that says.
You know, what you're gonna need is a carefully worded letter. Sounds like another Nancy
It
call.
is a Nancy call.
That we're issuing a notice to proceed, but no shovels in the ground until
Okay. Want to call?
we have authority to borrow.
So,
Because until we have the authority to borrow, we can't pay any of the really, really big costs.
is there a backup plan, like have another town meeting? I mean,
Well,
that's where the authorization needs to come.
it isn't the town meeting.
It's already been
It's an
authorized.
election issue.
Well,
And it's a dumb issue because it's never happened before.
yeah, right.
We would have to hold another election
With one question. On
with one question on the ballot that's conformed to the documentation that,
And if it didn't
I
pass,
take the risk.
Bond
Yeah,
council.
yeah, I don't think so.
that bond council asked for. And there's no
Still got a couple signs.
world in which I would want to do that.
yeah,
No.
right. No, I agree.
Well, if that's the case, can we pay these?
Yes,
Okay.
We have money, Dan. What we don't have is enough money
To the entire.
to meet
To build the project,
The project.
the contractual obligations
Right.
once we start digging.
Right.
So, what do we have? Probably 700,000, right?
we happen to have, as of today, 1,296,739.88. That's the original appropriation of the $1,096,000.
Oh, I forgot about the money we
And then
transferred.
the the 143 at the October 30th.
Right.
So that's $1,296,000 remaining.
So we can take care of the 40 grand.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, we got.
I checked that. Oh, yeah.
And
So it's-
probably
it's-
we have enough money to continue with the administrative things. right?
Yeah, we
Right.
can move
Okay.
forward. The problem, and I don't imagine it happening, the problem would be if the legislature decided not to pass the legislation, or the governor decided not to sign it, or to veto it. She'd either have to sign it or veto it, because she doesn't do anything. It passes into law after 10 days. So short of that, we're okay. But if that happens, the only money we have
Is that?
is the $2 million that we knitted together, and that's half gone already.
And we have that other separate borrowing authorization for the 2.2
Right.
that we passed.
Yeah.
Offset from opera.
No, well, it's the
Well,
juggle that we
the
did, the
trade-off
shift.
for
The trade-off for offer.
Yeah.
So yeah. I guess we need to move forward.
I feel comfortable
Yeah.
as long as we have that language in there about the special legislation. Then
Can we
we
use-
do have some money to
Yeah.
start.
Use the same language that we put in the contract. We put language like that in the contract. You know, we gave them the contract and
We
it had,
did. We
you know,
did
pending legislation, you know what I mean? We can use the same similar language in the NTP with, we're giving you, you know, we want to start,
Yep.
you know, an NTP effective March 1st. And then maybe that goes with a letter kind of, you know,
Well, I
like
think
this, which like to start administrative.
Yeah, the
You know.
NTP would be starting right away. Notice to proceed administrative with,
Notice to receive an administrative. Yeah, maybe it's
with
just
construction in, to start March 1st, pending authorization, final authorization.
I mean, you can call it. We can call it a partial NTP. It's only happened to me once, but I actually did have a project once. I got a partial.
Notice
NTP.
to proceed, Nancy can word it, however, hard cost construction may not proceed until
There's an NTSB.
legislative approval is received.
Notice to slowly proceed.
Said it happened on one project. I got a partial notice to proceed. I'm like, what the heck was that?
So we'll have this crafted and then will we meet again to approve that language and
well,
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, I'm gonna make a motion to, have Mary Beth reach out to council to provide a qualified, notice to proceed that allows the contractor to move forward except for actual construction.
All pre-con administrative things, submittals, approvals,
Long lead time.
yeah,
right.
Yep.
that type of stuff. All pre-construction.
do we want to say up to a dollar amount or no?
No,
No.
No,
I
pre-construction.
don't think it'll be
Yeah.
necessary. We'll know long before they get through that. If there's a
Right,
problem.
right.
Okay, I have a question. Say it all gets approved. Go out to funding. When's the shovel hit the ground?
Hopefully March 1st.
March 1st.
Hopefully, yeah.
When
We're
do you
targeting
think
March
we see
1st.
It
bills
won't be
in?
too cold.
We have to go out and borrow, and there's a process.
Well, you're
with that.
going to get incremental billing,
Slowly,
Starting-
the
starting
admin costs.
yesterday.
Well, that's what I mean. The money's not in the bank. So I've already contacted bond counsel again last week with Ken and said, look, I need to be ready to hit the ground running as soon as we get that green light letter because they're just waiting to begin and they're going to start sending us bills. So they're sending a laundry list of things for Ken to, get in order and so forth so that we are ready to go. But the whole process on going out.
So do the separate $2 million borrow.
Well, that they don't, I think what he wanted to do was
Do it all at once.
half and half because of the costs and fees that you incur. Or do it all at once.
Well, if he starts March 1st, he'll have an estimate for the end of March. The contractor.
Right.
So that's going to be the first time we're going to make a payment that we don't have monies for, except we have monies for engineering and all
Right.
that.
Right. Oh, yeah. That
So,
we do.
You know,
I'm
he'll
worried
be,
when we get into the big
you know,
money.
based off of his schedule of values, he'll have a mold cost, I'm sure, and that's going to be his first estimate will be that.
Good thing we weren't depending on your marks, huh?
That's
Do we have a limit on mold in the contract? Do we know? Do we have a limit on the value of what he can put for a mold?
Good question.
It's usually 3%,
Yeah,
but I mean that's all. I mean,
I don't think.
Well, what'd you ask, Kevin?
a limit on his mobilization line item. I mean, there wasn't a line. I know there wasn't a line item in the contract, but I didn't know if there's contract language that limits him of how much he can put on that line item.
Do you have a schedule of values on the pre-construction portion?
No, we don't have a schedule of values. Right?
Well, we will make that request.
We'll make that
Yeah,
request right
yeah.
away. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we can look and pick and choose.
so.
I'm just saying that's going to be his March payment. Will be his mob. So, what's 3% of whatever his contract is? I mean, that's probably or 1.5 of something like that. 1 to 2%. I would guess he'd be looking for in March.
So Frank makes this motion, then we won't have to come back, and I'll send the contract around the NTP.
Yeah, because the notice is the notice.
That's what I mean.
And then once the final pieces come together, it's done.
So we don't want to delay it further.
I'll second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the partial kind of NTP?
NTSP, right?
NTSP. I like that. All in favor?
I like that.
Aye. Unanimous. Excellent.
Did you want to turn that around? Or no?
What?
The speaker. Yeah, it's on.
I'm good.
Okay.
It's on. So we have just the one invoice.
That's the only invoice from CMS,
So we have the invoice from CMS.
$40,378.40. Do you need a copy there, Kevin?
I have it in my email. I'm fine. I just didn't have a chance to print
And
it.
that is,
That's
it
two.
was, right, it's 2 invoices, and there was a comment on the email.
Addison Associates.
Yeah, I think we can
The reimbursement.
vote to approve the invoice, and if we want to talk about
Okay, yep.
the website. So if you want to, I'll entertain a motion to approve the invoice or
Motion.
second.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor of approving the invoice for CMS?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Okay. So I guess the other part of that was the website. So the website that we created for some of the for the election and town meeting and information is still active. It was what, $300 for like 6 months?
Yeah, it's pretty inexpensive.
I mean, it's pretty inexpensive. The question, do we want to maintain that and we can start populating that with project information? Do we want to just shut it down?
I think it's a great way to keep people informed.
Right.
Rick, you got
Okay.
Do we have any information on how many people are using it, or how many hits, or would that be something you'd
I'm
know?
sure we
We
do. I haven't made that request or ask him to look into it. I can. I also don't think there's been any changes to it. I haven't looked at it for months now, so I'm assuming it's the same pre-vote.
Yeah. I guess it'd be two. I mean, there's the cost to maintain it every month, and then obviously the cost to we have to update it because
Yeah.
most of the stuff that's in there we don't need anymore. And then whether we monthly or I'm 50-50 to be honest, because sometimes it's too.
Well-
The more information, the more complaints you might get.
The thing is, with 2 projects going on, there are going to be some people who will be interested in knowing continually what's going on. Nick hasn't moved up to it.
I agree with Frank. If we take it down, it may raise speculation. People may may question that.
And that's not something you can do in-house and want to take on, right? And do,
Oh, do you want Josh or Steve to manage
that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Don't even want to
So,
go there.
I think it's a good idea to keep it up. I think as the project moves ahead, more and more people are going to,
Yeah.
you know.
It'll be
check
an
in.
easy way to keep
Right.
people informed. You may even have segments that include written updates and billings, budget, you know, put the whole thing out there.
Yeah, I have been asked, when are we gonna see our new DPW? I've been asked that,
I've
so,
been asked, when are we gonna see a shovel in the ground?
yeah.
Summer of 25.
But to elaborate on Rick's point about the amount of hits, if we can ask the firm if they could include that on their invoice, just, you know, any type of updates and how many hits they've received.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good place to keep it, right there. That way we can review it every month.
Well, if you wanna go for the gusto, just have them put a meter on the site. So when you log on, you see how
That's
many
true.
people are looking at it.
Yeah,
If we have that, can't, like, as they're working, if, you know, a Bruce or once it takes pictures of where we're going, can't he post it on that web, you know, on that, you know, videos and things like
Progress
that?
report, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we can, and I forget her name.
Yeah.
Kim. We can do the same thing we kind of did. We can meet with her. Okay, how do we want to set up? You know,
yeah.
maybe there's a tab for monthly updates, and we can ask whether it's CMS or HKA or someone to do a quick little monthly update. We can come up with a one-page format, and you know that can be put up there every month. And you know, just some general information. You know, there's probably stuff on there that is still applicable. The design, the drawings, you know, some of the basic stuff that all can stay. Even the reasons why we need a building, there's nothing that we'd have to take that down. It's still all
Right.
good information.
But it would be nice to have a dual picture of old,
Yep.
new. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Do we need to vote for that, or I think it's just
You can do that.
general consensus is to keep it?
Consensus is to keep it.
Okay.
We'll talk to Kim about just get an order of magnitude, you know, what it would be to, what she thinks to add some monthly progress updates or whatever, something like that, just at the next meeting, maybe we can have a, you know, see how, give you guys a idea of how many hits we've had so far within the last few months or month by month thing, and then also just going forward, roughly, maybe set a budget or something for that, just for the website.
I'm guessing it's probably hardly any lately, but once people drive by and they see things happening,
Right.
then you
Yeah.
might go to look, especially if we have this thing out there and check, you know. Then if we can set it up so I can send her pictures and then she can, you know,
Right.
put a little narrative.
Yep.
Yeah, I think kind of just like we did it before. Let her control the management of it. That way, you know, there's one person.
So that's not in the budget right now for a go forward?
We didn't have anything in the budget to begin with for the website, so.
So where will this come from?
You're not talking a lot of money.
No,
You're talking
it's been,
an hour a week or so.
Can you carry this in your general conditions, or?
Well, if it was $400 for 6 months and the project's gonna be 15
Yeah.
months, even if
I
it's
think we
$500
paid-
every
I
6
think
months.
we-
Right, yeah.
previously paid
$1,500 for the
like
life of
an
the project.
additional one, right? Like a few months, like, I think we paid
That's your new desk going.
$1,500 or a couple $1,000.
Well, there's two costs. There's hosting and
Right.
then there's
Took away
paying.
my opening window.
Right,
Right.
I just wanna see,
I mean, the last 6 months, like my guess, the 350 or whatever was in the invoice. I mean, that's just hosting it. We haven't done anything to the website
Specifically
since
says
May.
hosting, that's it.
Yeah,
So the price is gonna go up when you start uploading,
yeah.
updating.
Yeah.
right,
Like I said, I don't think we're
That out of
talking
the IT budget.
an hour or two a month.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think anything. All right, I guess got to get some general info and.
Okay.
All right. Is there any old business? I don't know if there's
We've
anything.
already approved this, right?
Did you?
Yes, we did.
I don't think there was anything. I don't know if it's old business. I guess it's kind of old business. I just wanted to talk. I know we funding and all that, and we got to the number we want, but I think as a committee, we still should look at if there's any potential savings without taking away from the building. I'm going to distribute this. I should have just emailed it, but I forgot to. This is something a few months back. I asked Greg for just some ideas. A lot of this on here I wouldn't want to do.
Amy will.
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 pages. I can email it too. I was running out of the office, so I just printed it.
No, it doesn't have.
There should be 10 or 11 copies. There should be enough.
You want to get in?
I'll give you mine.
Oh no, I might have only made 10 copies. These are some ideas that Greg came up with. The majority of these I don't want to do, but there are a couple, like some landscaping things. Can we live with bitconk curb instead of granite curb? I know there was some discussions about lessening the gravel thickness. I think we still should look at some simple cost savings. We're not going to be swapping out windows for walls. I think we've talked about that as a committee, and but I think there's some there's a couple on here, like I said. Really, maybe it's only the landscaping and the.
What, number 12?
Number 12, the landscaping.
Number 3 required by code, or is just the means to power it up required by code?
That was one of my questions. I asked him, I said, can I get rid of them? And he said they're required by code. So
I think the means to have the outlet for them, but not the physical charger.
I think that's all we have. I don't think we have charges. I think that I was questioning because, they got the conduit and all that. So, I didn't know.
Okay.
So if it is, I'm going to go with what Greg
Because
says.
the chargers are a good sized ticket item.
Yeah, we didn't have car chargers. We had the infrastructure for it. So if that's required, then I guess we got to do it. And the only other one, what was the other one? Oh, the curb. Which one was it?
11?
11. And maybe it's not all the curb. Maybe again, I guess those are the only 2 on this list. I had one more that Greg didn't address. With some of the communication, electrical duct banks. He has them coming in. If you're looking at the site now, he has them coming in over near the leaf pile, and they're going all the way across the site. And I'm not sure why we can't just come in right where the current entrance is.
Right.
There'll be a pole there so there'll be a pole kind of in the middle of the site versus a pole all the way over on the left. But that's the only thing I can see of why he's coming in over there versus, we're coming overhead from across the street. So but just, that was the only 2, I think. Some of the environmental stuff chewed into our contingency. We know there's still some, hopefully no more. There's always going to be something. Yes, Mr. Cook.
Oh, I don't know if you want to do this in order, but it's going to comment on the bituminous curb.
Yeah, I don't know if there's 11 and 12 are the only ones I even thought were feasible. You know what I mean? Anything else takes away from.
So 11, I would not myself be in favor of that personally. I think maybe a discussion to go to precast concrete versus granite. I understand dropping from granite, but bituminous, I think, the superintendents can comment, but the plows usually chew it up.
Right,
The
yeah.
first year,
Right.
it'd be destroyed. So then you're just repairing them.
Why don't you just bury those old skateboard things in the ground?
Big blue rose up.
Aren't those guys?
Put them on curbs. They'll turn quick.
But if we went to
Demolished.
pour in place, then the salt's gonna have an effect. Right. I mean,
Well,
Your machine just lays a berm down,
precast.
but it's concrete. I mean,
asphalt
it's
berm.
not really mixable with the salt.
Yeah, granite's the best,
Yeah,
but it's very, very expensive these days.
Yeah.
no question.
Very expensive. But I guess, like I said, those are the only 2 options even on this list. if someone's thumbing through a drawing and looking at something, they got some ideas. I think it's, obviously we're just getting into the beginnings of it, but I think it's
Same with
something.
13. I'm sorry, I was going to comment that. You didn't suggest 13.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I wouldn't do that.
Landscaping,
Yeah, so maybe it's only landscaping, and there's not a lot of it. Dennis?
In the original plan, there were some cut-ins and concrete manhole and stuff to store, that I talked to the source, the water sewer guy, and they were gonna eliminate them, did they?
Let's look at the drawings.
Use the existing ones instead?
I'd have to look at the drawings. I mean, I don't know what ended up on the drawings. So, I mean, the bid sets up on bid docs. So, I think, if we're gonna make some small little tweaks, obviously now's the time. It's a lot easier instead of dealing with the 11th hour. So, it's just a
Timing.
talking point.
Yeah, you can't. I have it, but
Right.
I had to blow
Yeah.
it up on my phone.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you can't tell by this.
So, just a thought. I think it's something just to be aware of, that I think we should be aware of as a committee, that, yes, we do have a contingency, but it's pretty tight for this size project.
Well, we don't want to do anything that will,
And bear in mind, we're
Loosen the
coming in
building.
with the DEP
Right.
requirement.
Yeah, we're taking a decent chunk out of it with the testing and all that. So,
so ask, at one point we were discussing like windows or something. Did that go through already? Is that already?
yeah,
There are windows.
we had talked about that as a committee, and then the consensus was to leave the building the way it is. If you take this out, you got to put that in, and added engineering cost, and so and Greg says it. It's a pretty simple building. It's a pretty simple site, and I think we went through it a lot and cut it down to as minimal bare bones as possible.
Just like even things like the cart, it comments on the floor finish, doing it like at BJ's or Costco. That can actually cost money.
It's amazing what
If you don't have the right
25 bucks
contractor.
today.
Very bad.
Not as much as it used to.
Very bad. So we're better off having some inexpensive carpet if that's necessary.
Right.
Plus sound and acoustic.
Scott, I can we ask Greg for if he has a submittal list? And I guess, and I know it's all going to go through bid docs, but there's probably some submittals that someone in the town should look at. I mean, it's probably the majority of them obviously will be handled by Greg, but like security, IT, card readers. I mean, I know there's some of the equipment stuff. Certainly, I would think Bruce and Dave would want to look at. I mean, all the general building stuff probably doesn't matter. I mean, no one. I don't care to see it. I don't know if anyone else does, but certain, but I guess more on approval side.
Yep.
That maybe if we could get that list and try to determine which ones the town at least should have some say in on approval.
Sure.
I'm sure and it's probably mostly IT and security stuff to make sure we get what we need. And everything is going through bid docs, so if everybody wants to get all kinds of emails, they can talk to Greg and get copied and get notifications for every submittal and RFI and everything. I'm all set.
Yeah.
All right. That's all we had on the agenda. Besides next meeting, which I guess I'm not sure if we need to schedule one. At least not in the next few weeks. I mean, we got that NTP. If we get unless something happens with the special legislation.
The one for February.
I guess we can do a February and just kind of stay on a once a month for the next couple months to just stay up to date and status
We don't need
things.
it. I'd rather plug one in and then lose it.
No, I agree.
Get it on.
Sometimes the last minute ones are tough to fit in there. Let's see, it sounds like we want to meet before March 1st in case.
Do we? Does the? I know with Thursday today. Did the Monday work for people? I know we did a couple Mondays there. Like Monday the 12th.
When's
I got nothing scheduled for February
is there,
so far.
there's no holiday?
That's the 19th. Yeah. So
So 5 o'clock, Monday the 12th?
if that works, I guess
That works.
What day?
Monday the 12th.
Done.
Is it a holiday?
No,
The next week is the holiday.
Washington gets a holiday and Lincoln gets nothing.
Apple doesn't say it's Lincoln's birthday.
Mine says Lincoln's birthday.
Hmm.
February 12th.
Actually, 19th now President's Day, so they encompass. All right, so we'll go February 12th.
5 o'clock. If people can all get here at 5 o'clock.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I thought I gave myself plenty of time.
I take the knife out of your bag.
5:07.
You hit the Waze and it says, 4:55. Oh, perfect. And then it just goes 4:56, 57, 58.
I just have a question regarding some bills, invoices I'm going to be getting for hiring a plumber at the Armory to make that suitable to go in there. And are those invoices that will come here?
Oh, send it to the fire department.
If it has to do with the project, wouldn't it?
Send it to the finance committee for
I think it's a DPW operating cost personally, but I don't know.
Well, isn't there some kind of something built into the building project for temporary facilities? So this is, we're going as cheap as we can with temporary facilities. We have no charges for temporary facilities except for I bought 4 space heaters and a water heater, a small water heater, like an 8-gallon under the sink type. But I had to hire a plumber to shut the water off in some sections of the Armory that are not heated and have them hook up the water heater.
It would be my recommendation that it would be a capital expense and should be run through the capital committee because these are improvements to the building itself, right? I mean, for future use.
Right.
Right?
It doesn't.
How much
I don't know
how
if
much
you
money are you
kinda-
talking? How much money are you talking?
5, 10 grand?
Well, you're not gonna get another
No.
appropriation for it, so it's gotta come out of something like
Right.
that.
Capital will go to the
So there's
town
no
meeting.
point in going to the capital committee,
Yeah.
they don't have any money.
Right.
And these are
Unless it
temporary. These aren't
waits
really
till May.
How much money are you
improvements to
talking?
the building. If anything, like
A few
if you were
grand.
improving the building, you'd be
3 grand?
putting a boiler in there
A few
and
grand. Yeah.
getting the heat up and running. This is space heaters they put in the bathroom so the pipes don't freeze, shutting the water off to the front of the building so those pipes don't freeze because the heat doesn't migrate in there because the building only has one gas heater that heats the big area where the trucks are parked.
What happened in the past? They just got lucky it didn't freeze?
No, the water's been off for years.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but to have the
We had to turn the water on. I guess
Yeah.
the employees will be in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm assuming probably after we're done, they'll shut the water off again. You know,
What will you do with the
they're not
space heaters?
gonna
Bring
have
'em?
the space heaters just sitting in there going when nobody's there.
Right.
You know?
What are we talking for costs? A couple thousand?
Yeah, I would say
2,500?
it's more the plumbing cost than the actual items. The space heaters were a couple $100 a piece. They weren't, they were just cheap little milk house heaters, just enough to put in the bathroom to keep warm in there. So there's no heat in the bathroom except for what migrates from the
How
larger
are we
garage.
gonna heat in there if we don't have a furnace?
Space heat.
Water.
Hot water?
It's an electric hot water heater that just heats the water that goes to that one sink.
Point heaters. Right.
It's like an under sink
Oh,
mount.
under the sink, yeah.
Yeah, it's like this big, Greg. It's like 8 gallons. Yeah, the heat.
$1,000 installed.
Yeah. something like that.
So we're
And I
looking-
don't know what to have.
Reserve
cut in
fund
terms of
transfer.
what-
You think,
Less than
Yeah.
35,000.
what, you think the finance committee would do a reserve fund transfer between 3 and 5?
There's $35,000 in the reserve fund, and this is certainly an unexpected expense, right?
I mean, it is water. We could take it out of the water department.
Give everybody some pain.
I mean, it's an unexpected expense, so.
It really is, yeah.
So why don't you make a presentation to the FinCom about that?
I just did.
No. I mean, to the full FinCom.
You did not.
Right? Would that make sense?
That doesn't count.
Wouldn't that make sense?
It does, yeah.
I mean, this is unexpected. I mean,
Well, I'll get the invoices in. You know, the wild card is the
Yes,
plumber's bill. We'll see how much it is if we need to go that route or that route. Otherwise, you know, maybe I'll split it with
I can tell you, a couple of years ago, we put a hot water heater in the bathroom, the men's room downstairs on the first floor. It was under $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, so backup goes along.
Install and equipment.
Okay.
a space heater in here.
We can also go to Goodwill. For
Feels like the air
parts.
conditioner's on.
Everybody don't like-
Huh?
Feels like the air conditioner's on.
It is. Is the air conditioner on?
Earlier.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was on microwave.
I know there's one extreme or the other.
Never comfortable. It's either hot or cold. It's never comfortable. I'm
All right.
fine.
Does anybody have anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Does he got a question?
It's usually Rick.
Well, that was a motion
Yeah,
to
we
adjourn.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, is that what
Motion
it was?
seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all. I apologize for being late.